Good morning, everyone. My name is Vanessa Pashamasis, and this is my presentation, Pipes Punctuation. So today we're talking about thesis of devoid of content. Content voids grammar. Stanley Fish states in his second paragraph of his essay talking about how content should be banned from the classroom because form is a better way to create a proper sentence instead. Content is a lure and a delusion, and it should be banished from the classroom. Form is the way. He describes how many of his students that he places in groups have no idea what a syntax is or what a lexicon is. In one of his paragraphs, he says, "On the first day of my freshman writing class, I give the students this assignment. You will be divided into groups, and by the end of the semester, each group will be expected to have created its own language, complete with a syntax, a lexicon, a text, rules for translating the text, and strategies for teaching your language to fellow students. The language you create cannot be English or a slightly coded version of English, but it must be capable of indicating the distinctions between tense, number, manner, mood, agency, and the like that English enables us to make." And then he continues on saying that you can imagine the reaction of students who think that syntax is something cigarette smokers pay, and that lexicon is the name of a rebel tribe inhabiting a galaxy far away and having the slightest idea of what the words like tense, manner, and mood mean. The next thing I'll be talking about is thesis of Pipes Punctuation. Content and punctuation to help students. Rachel Foster talks about how there's a lack of punctuation in students and how content helps them model their own paper. This includes teaching the correct spelling of subject-specific keywords, marking students' written work for spelling, punctuation and grammar, and giving students specific literacy targets. In the beginning of her article, she confesses, "First, a confession. Writing about punctuation scares me. If my punctuation is accurate, it is more because I read a great deal than because I thoroughly understand the principles and rules that underlie its use. So why write an article about pupils' use of punctuation? Because of this." She goes on to quote, "After the 1905 revolution in Russia, Tsar Nicholas' control of the country's economy was temporarily strengthened after he was forced to introduce measures that would appease workers and peasants. October Manifesto. But the economic factors included in this were lowering of taxes on the poor, and this was really the extent of which he helped economic factors within Russia. Other than this, he just tried to keep the aristocrats of Russia on his side to entrench his control of the country. But however, this short-term strengthening was short-lived, as even though Nicholas had gone a small way to helping the poor within the country, he hadn't addressed the fundamental economic problems such as working conditions, land reform, low wages, and the mass difference between the economically prosperous in the country and the desperately poor." As you all heard, this is a full-on run-on paragraph with no punctuations except commas. And what Rachel Foster is trying to teach us from this is that any pupil can go through a paragraph writing about either the 1905 revolution or slavery, and it could have no punctuations whatsoever, but still be written perfectly, but it's still written grammatically incorrect because there is no use of punctuation whatsoever throughout the paragraph. Next, I'll be talking about is key moments in devoid of content and Pipes punctuation. Devoid of content. To help them understand grammar without the use of content, Fish sets them in groups and makes them create a language that is not English, giving them a set of 5 random words and have them create a sentence out of it. With just that, Fish acquires 20 sentences and each one differently and well organized, exploring the devices by which English indicates and distinguishes between various components. The big idea is to devise language and understand English and grammar without the use of content and just focusing on the form of it. Pipes punctuation. To first understand punctuation, a short intervention focusing on Pipes use punctuation to construct a complex claim. With the use of an intervention helps them understand better how to use punctuation. The effect of using Pipes punctuation, though it was tentative for the students, it helped them become more confident when it came to using it. Frequently revisiting the punctuation makes an importance. In the long term, it can make a difference in the student's writing. The big ideas is the frequent help and teaching for the students to understand better how to grammatically use punctuations. Lastly, quotes. Both of these quotes are from Devoid of Content. Once the students tumble to this point, they are more than halfway to understanding the semester-long task. They cannot construct a language whose forms do the same work English does, but do it differently. I chose this quote because it helped cover the idea of the essay and the thesis. The task that is given is to understand how to comprehend the form of English instead of using content. When we first read the essay, Stanley Fish says that on his first day of freshman writing class, he gives the students this assignment, which is he divides them into groups, and at the end of the semester, each group will be expected to create its own language, which is complete with a syntax, a lexicon, a text, rules for translating the text, and strategies for teaching your language to your fellow students. Throughout these essay, you can see that his students do not know what syntax, a lexicon, tense, manner, and mood are. And then as he continues to show them and give them examples of what they are, throughout the end of it, he sees that he gets students that understand finally what grammar really is without the use of content. In the languages my students devise, the requisite distinctions are signaled by any numbers of formal device, word order, word endings, prefixes, suffixes, numbers, brackets, fonts, colors, you name it. Exactly. How they do it is not the point. The point is that they know what it is they are trying to do. The moment they know that, they have succeeded, even if much of the detailed work remains to be done. What stands out to me in this quote is what are signaled in the languages the students devise. It helps the readers understanding the formal devices that they use, we also use in daily life to create papers. They use different types of punctuation in this quote, which are commas, semicolons, dashes, and periods. The structure in the passage affects the way we understand it because we are seeing how form helps the students create better sentences instead of using content.